I'm sure you've heard about this story, that there's these leaked documents, right? So these leaked documents on the Ukraine war, and it's really embarrassing to the government and blah, blah, blah.
It's different, but just as special.
It says how the latest leaked documents are different from the past breaches. The freshness of the document, the freshness. Like, these are fresh. Wow, this is really
right out of the oven.
Wow, these are fresh. Got a nice crust.
Time to make the documents.
Some appear to be barely 40 days old, and the hints they hold for operations to come make them particularly damaging, officials say. So when I saw this story, it seemed sketchy to me. I didn't think.
Why? Is it because I didn't really get anything from it?
Yeah. Like they just, because my friend Tom Simmons texted me, goes, the leaked documents say everything Jimmy Dore's been saying for the last 8 months, right?
Right.
And I go, yeah, probably longer. So that's why this isn't. So why is this supposed to be a big deal? It's not a big deal. This is the CIA doing this. This is my theory. So here, this is from the article. It says, when WikiLeaks spilled a huge trove of state... So this is the first paragraph in this article written by this guy, David E. Sanger. Now, if you know anything about David E. Sanger, he's a Pulitzer Prize winner because he gets his stories directly from the CIA. Okay? So that's why he gets to write stories.
He won a prize for listening.
For listening to the CIA. So this story, I'm gonna guess, is how a CIA informant or a CIA man would write this story. And he starts off his story about these leaked documents by saying this about WikiLeaks. He says, when WikiLeaks spilled a huge trove of State Department cables 13 years ago, it gave the world a sense of what American diplomats do each day.
What?
The sharp elbows, the doubts, the doubts about wavering allies, and the glimpses at how Washington was preparing for North Korea's eventual collapse and Iran's nuclear blackout. Oh, yes, that's what it revealed. It revealed diplomacy. I believe it's from the ancient Greek word diplomacy that means sharpened elbows. So that's why Julian Assange is being slowly murdered. He carelessly exposed these sharp elbows of democracy. So do you see what they're doing? See, he's trying to pretend that the WikiLeaks were a nothing burger and that they just revealed what people... Well,
it was a huge trove of nothing.
Huge trove. So Glenn Greenwald caught this, and he'll explain it to you better.
It is unbelievable to describe the WikiLeaks disclosures that way. He's doing it on purpose to make it seem like it was a completely unjustified and banal leak that didn't really tell you anything about the world other than giving you a, quote, sense of what American diplomats do. This is just the business of diplomats. They throw sharp elbows. They have some doubts about wavering allies. And you got some glimpses about how Washington was preparing for North Korea's eventual collapse and Iran's nuclear breakout.
Neither of those things happened.
So they pick the things that they know you're fine with the State Department doing in order to make this leak sound like it was something that told you nothing important, but at the same time was incredibly dangerous. Now, this eventual collapse of North Korea, I don't think we have that yet. This is 13 years later. So there's no collapse of North Korea. Maybe eventually means 100 years from now. And Iran has not broken out in the sense that it has nuclear weapons. Nobody claims that. But these are things that you would want the government to be doing, and that's why the New York Times purposely described the WikiLeaks releases in this way, to make you think these WikiLeaks releases told you nothing but endangered the public. In reality, the exact opposite was true. They revealed all kinds of secrets about tens of thousands of people, innocent civilians that the United States government, the military had killed in Afghanistan and Iraq. They had revealed a video showing the U.S. government, the U.S. military gunning down innocent people, including journalists who worked for Reuters when they were on the ground and scrambling to try and leave. They revealed widespread and rampant corruption among all kinds of U.S. allies in Saudi Arabia and Bahrain and Jordan and Egypt, and all kinds of lies about a whole range of issues that the U.S. government told the public. But it's bizarre, although not really, that David Sanger, who's an ally of this intelligence services, would start off his article trying to demean WikiLeaks' releases, knowing Julian Assange is in prison. This is the way that a CIA agent who hates Julian Assange would describe those releases, not the way a journalist would. So already you know that he's surveying here an agenda that is the U.S. security state's agenda. That's what he always does, but this is the first clue. Now here's...
So, okay, so your first paragraph, you know, okay, there's something nefarious happening here. Everyone's pretending like this is a big leak, and in order to do that, they get this hack from the New York Times, who's a CIA puppet, to downplay what the... So here's the second paragraph. When Edward Snowden swept up the National Security Agency's secrets 3 years later, Americans suddenly discovered the scope of how the digital age had ushered in a remarkable new era of surveillance by the agency, enabling it to pierce China's telecommunications industry and to drill into Google's servers overseas to pick up foreign communications.
Also, your communications. Also, all of them.
That's right. So that's the part that hack from the CIA tool of the New York Times leaves out. The actual shit that Edward Snowden revealed is that they were doing illegal spying on Americans. But
I'm glad they had time to do that other spying with all the spying on Americans.
That's right. And why shouldn't we spy on our allies? Right? Why should we spy on our own citizens? You want to roll with America, we get to watch you fuck. That's how it goes. That's the price of freedom. Glenn Greenwald, also, who was very instrumental in the Edward Snowden story, he caught this, and here's what he says about it.
The crux of the Snowden reporting showed how the NSA was spying on the conversations of American citizens, the telephone activities of Americans, to the point that courts were able to rule them unconstitutional, as I said earlier. But again, if you work for the NSA, this is what you would want people to think the Snowden reporting was about. He's counting on the fact that it's been 10 years and people don't remember. So he's just rewriting history. And I will show you that the only people who ever revealed any secrets about how the NSA spies on China is the New York Times itself, not any of the other journalists who actually worked with Edward Snowden. So we'll get to that in a minute. Now, they go on.
So then here's the next paragraph. I think this is the next paragraph. No, maybe it's not. But those were the first two paragraphs of his article. So you know something's nefarious afoot. Mm-hmm. So then it says, the cache of 100 or so newly leaked briefing slides of operational data on the war in Ukraine is distinctly different, he says. The data revealed so far is less comprehensive than those vast secret archives, but far more timely. What? And it is the immediate salience of the intelligence that most worries White House and Pentagon. So he's obviously, this is a propaganda piece, 100% from start to finish. So why does this guy who's just a CIA spokesperson, why do they want Americans to think that White House and Pentagon officials are worried about these leaks? Why is that? They're not, because these leaks tell us nothing. They're telling us nothing that everyone
Jimmy,
didn't already know.
It's the freshness of the stale information that you're not understanding.
So there's one more piece I'll read to you. This is the last piece I'll read from that article. It says, now this is supposed to be the big reveal of the leaked documents. The 100 plus pages of slides and briefing documents leave no doubt about how deeply enmeshed the United States is in the day-to-day conduct of the war, providing the precise intelligence and logistics that help explain Ukraine's success thus far. While President Biden has barred American troops from firing directly on Russian targets and blocked sending weapons that could reach deep into Russian territory, the documents make clear that a year into the invasion, the United States is heavily entangled in almost everything else. What in the F is this supposed to be telling me that I already don't know? Everybody knows this. We send them $110 billion already. We're in deep. We're sending advisors. We've reported that at this show. What are these documents revealing? They're not revealing anything that we don't already know. So I wonder why they're doing this. And there's a couple of things wrong with this leaked document. We don't know who's leaking it.
We're going to get that guy.
Right? We don't know who's leaking it. What? And they didn't leak it to someplace like WikiLeaks or to like a reporter like Glenn Greenwald. They're leaking it out on like, Discords and 4chan stuff and
Yeah, right.
and on gaming sites. And it's like, what? Why would they do it that way? So this all sounds like the CIA is doing this on purpose for some reason. I don't know exactly. And because this isn't a reveal, and Glenn has the same conclusion. Here it is.
The Pentagon papers showed that the American government lied to the American people about the war in Vietnam for a decade. The Snowden reporting showed that the U.S. government was spying on its own citizenry in violation of the Constitution and the law. WikiLeaks showed all kinds of hidden war crimes. What did these documents show that are similar to that? That would really be upsetting and destabilizing to the United States? We keep hearing that they're like those other cases. We keep hearing from the U.S. government about how disturbing this leak is. That I haven't really seen anything in these documents yet that would be comparable.
But Jimmy, if this could leak this quickly, this information that everyone has said for over a year.
I don't understand. This leaked out on purpose is what I'm saying. So this leaked out on purpose.
Well, here's what I thought was weird. Because I thought Zelensky leak. Remember last week?
Mm-hmm.
I just heard about it. And what was on it was like the death toll, okay? And they were saying an altered version came out on those other platforms where Russia switched around the death toll. But what we said it was and the switch around version is not that high of a death toll. And I was like, that's weird. Either way, that number sounds way lower than what I would have thought it was.
Okay, here's one theory, is that the Americans and Europeans are turning against this war. And so the United States, the CIA, they see this, right? Yeah. And so they leak these documents to show that it's not going well, right? I mean, because that's what we've known this. What could be, I don't know, but just, hey, by the way, just to let you know, this is from Jacobin. Jacobin says the Iraq War was a massive redistribution of wealth to the rich and powerful. Wow. Well, boy, oh boy, they really, Jacobin, not since the recent 20 years later expose of the Iraq War by Mehdi Hassan have I seen such courage.
Mehdi Hassan's coming down hard on the Iraq War too, by the way, recently.
Oh, is he? Good. I tell you, that's the guy.
He's not afraid.
Do they get? Dude, that's why he's always out in front.
Yeah,
that's why I had Mehdi. Do they give out a Cy Hirsch Award for the best 20 years after the fact reporting? Because I think Jacobin is a contender.
It was a massive redistribution of wealth.
Did Jacobin record the war on TiVo 20 years ago and then not get a chance to watch it or something? Is that what happened? Don't tell me how the war ended. I got it TiVo'd. Is that what happened? So anyway, of course, that's
the other shoe just dropped with regard to the Iraq War.
So they must be wanting to shift now all into Taiwan and China. They got their $110 billion. They blew up the Nord Stream pipeline, so they got that done. And now we're selling our liquefied natural gas to Europe. They got all that done. So now we move on to China and Taiwan.
Now we get our goddamn microchips back from China.
And yes, that's what this is. And let's remember this. This is United States military bases around the world. There's this website is called World Beyond War. No matter which way you turn the globe, there's just a shit ton of American military bases. Look at even Australia in the middle of nowhere, more in the middle of nowhere.
Once again, if you're just tuning in, this is not a sex offender registry.
No, this is American
bases around the world.
American military. Look at all the ones that said, look at all these.
Look at
Look at all the, whoa. It's surrounding Russia and China. Look at this in Africa. Look at this.
Which ones are peaceful bio research labs? Is that listed?
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Nothing in Sri Lanka? What's going on?
No kidding. Go to jimmydore.com to see my new stand-up special, COVID Lies Are Funny. For only $10, you get to become a premium member, too. And come see us do our live shows. We're going to be doing stand-up comedy in Milwaukee, Nashville, Honolulu, Los Angeles, Northampton, Massachusetts, Syracuse, New York, Cohoes, New York, Hartford, Connecticut, Baltimore, Maryland, and more. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for all those tickets.